In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you a single thinking mistake that can change every argument you'll ever have about movies and can save the movie business $1 billion a year. The only thing movie fans love more than watching movies is bitching about movies, and bitching at each other about what movies are good and bad. Critics and fan pages are just extensions of the same thing, and none of them agree either. Movie makers spend years and hundreds of millions of dollars trying to create hits, and still constantly come up short. Despite all of this thought and argument, we've never come to a consensus about not only what makes a good movie in general, but even whether or not any individual movie is good. Have you ever wondered why that is? Well, I'm here to tell you. Every discussion, every review, every preview, argument, and explanation I've ever seen falls victim to one big fat mistake that I call feature bias, which clouds our ability to see the big picture. Let me explain. Every movie has hundreds of things, performances, sounds, dialogue, moments, and more, that have been worked on for months or even years, and all of it affects our reaction. But it's impossible for one person to actually recognize all of it in one viewing. And people who study knowledge all know that we don't know what we don't know, but our ego wants to think we do know. So, we tend to take the few things we did notice about those movies and assume those are the only things there. This happens in other areas, but for our purposes, I like to call it feature bias, because it refers to noticing one or two features of something that caused your reaction and being totally unaware of everything else. Now, let's get down to brass tacks here. This one mistake, this feature bias, is the bubonic plague of movie fandom and movie making and writing. It is everywhere, screwing up everything. When movie reviewers pass judgment on a film in a 100-word blurb, that's feature bias. When your friends tell you a book is awful because they hated the ending, that's feature bias. When critics base a thumbs up or thumbs down for Spider-Man solely on the believability of the action scenes, feature bias. When executives didn't want to produce Star Wars because they said war movies always failed, their feature bias failed. Pulp Fiction sucks? No, feature bias sucks. It is so common in all of us that you can probably find an example of feature bias yourself within 1 or 2 minutes on any site that has movie talk. And all of it is bad information that misses 95% of what any movie actually has to offer. But it can be defeated, and if you do, you'll make a quantum leap in your ability to understand entertainment. Whether you want to spend your money more wisely as a fan, or understand or reproduce the success of some film as a movie maker yourself, or just win arguments with your friends. And the key is to increase how much you take in about each movie you see. And you don't even have to take notes or watch a movie more than once to do it. I'll give you one quick trick that'll help. Subtitles. All you have to do when you watch the movie is turn on the English closed captioning. This alone will make you much more aware of all the dialogue and the plot points. You might be amazed at how much more you've picked up when it's over. If everyone who really cared about movies knew this and did even this one thing, not only would there be far less pointless flaming online, but the decision makers themselves would collectively save easily $1 billion a year by not funding movies that just happen to share a handful of random features they notice from another successful movie, which often have little to do with the movie's success. And what does get made would be both more profitable and more enjoyable for the audience. At the end of the day here, the whole idea is about a giant step away from shallow cause and effect thinking and toward a much more accurate and full understanding, where we can avoid hasty conclusions and study the real effective elements in entertainment. And that's what I'm all about and what this channel's about. But we'll talk more about that in the next few videos. See you soon.